Hi, I'm John.
I'm Marie.
And we're starting a brand new bus build, and it starts with a little trip, and we're going to bring you along for the ride. First thing we need to do is get a bus, and that's what we're going to go get.
Fun.
Marie and I are here at Union Station in downtown Portland, and we're catching a train to Federal Way, Washington to pick up our bus. And we're going to bring you along for the ride, the train ride, and the bus buy, and bring you back on the bus.
Real exciting.
Well, after our lovely little train ride, 2.5 hours, we are now in Tacoma, Washington.
I don't know why, but now that little 6.
Alrighty, here we go. We gotta go find our representative real quick. We'll get back to you. Alrighty folks, here we are, Federal Way, Washington. We bought our bus, we got our keys in hand. We didn't record all the boring stuff, paperwork, stuff like that, so on and so forth, but here's our bus right behind us. It's 2001 Bluebird All-American. And we bought it from Northwest Bus Sales in Federal Way, Washington. There they are, and here's our sales rep, Mike. He was more than happy to give us a hand and everything else. And Mike, go ahead and do a free plug.
Hey, well, thanks a lot. I really appreciate your business. We love buses here. We try to keep a good inventory of school buses, shuttle buses, all kinds. If you have any questions, give us a shout. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. Alrighty, so we're gonna do a couple more things. We're gonna get a pre-trip going here and a brake check, and then we're gonna get out of here and hit the road and get back to Portland.
Fun, fun.
Alrighty, so before we take off on our bus at all or do anything, we need to do a full-blown pre-trip inspection, which is what most commercial driver people do. Me and Marie both have our commercial driver's licenses already. And technically, at the time that you purchase a bus like this, it is still a commercial vehicle. So you have to have a commercial driver's license. Now, there are some exception rules on certain things in certain states, but you got to check your local authorities with that. Anyway, so first thing we're going to do is open up the hood area, or the back panel anyway. Here's our engine compartment. One thing you definitely want to do before you start anything is you want to check your engine oil and your transmission oil when it's cold and also when it's hot. We've already been kind of doing a couple of things, so I'm not going to go through all that. But engine oil is pretty simple. But you always want to make sure before you buy a bus and you do anything, you make sure you locate where your oil dipstick is and your transmission dipstick. And then, of course, where you put the oil in, which is up here, and everything else. Check your coolant, which this one has a little hourglass. I can tell that the coolant is great, so we're good there. And then you also want to check your power steering fluid too. But as you can tell, this thing has a giant power steering reserve. So I don't believe there's a dipstick to it, and I didn't actually technically check that, so I probably should just to make sure. We're also still in the parking lot of the Northwest Bus Sales. Alrighty. I will have to get with the mechanics real quick to figure that out. Anyway, but they already went through and did inspections. They changed the oil and all that and everything else. So once that's done, now we're going to go to the front of the bus and we're going to start it, and we're going to do an air brake inspection test. Before you do your air brake inspection check, because you got to push the brake in and have no brakes at all whatsoever, you want to make sure you're on flat land. And if you're not on flat land like we are here, Northwest Bus Sales unfortunately has a little arc to their driveway there that goes downhill. So we went ahead and asked if we borrow a couple of chocks, and we got the wheels chalked so that way the bus doesn't roll on us. Alrighty, so here we are in the driver's seat. Got the key in hand. We're going to put it in the ignition. We're going to turn it to the auxiliary position. And right here on the dashboard, come on in, there's a little green light right here where my finger is. It sits there and says wait to start. The whole reason why you want to wait to start is you want to make sure that the glow plugs in the engine, because diesel engines run on glow plugs, they don't run on spark plugs. You gotta wait till the glow plugs are hot and warm, and when that wait to start goes out, that means the glow plugs are warmed up and ready to go. So here we go, we're gonna start it. Bus started right up with no problems at all whatsoever. We do have a low air warning light, but that's only because the bus has been sitting for a while, and so there's no air in the air tanks. One thing though too is that buses, or diesel motors that is, they cannot just idle under 1500 RPMs. If they do, they will ruin the engine. So the very first thing that you want to do is you want to turn on the high idle switch, which I don't see a high idle. Oh, nope, there it is right there. I just found it. It's right over here. So I'm going to turn that on and get the high idle done up. And then what we're going to do is we need our air, our front air and our rear air, to build up to about 120. And when that does, we should hear a from underneath the bus. Right now we're just waiting for the air pressure to build up to 120 PSI. You cannot release the brakes, you cannot go anywhere, you cannot do anything until the air brake pressure is built up to 120 PSI. Pounds per square inch. Okay, I just heard the thing cut down, so I'm going to turn off the high idle. The bus calmed down. Now what I'm going to do is turn the bus off all the way. Now I'm going to turn it back to the auxiliary position. I'm going to put my foot on the brake, and I'm going to push the brake in. the parking brake in all the way, and now the bus should roll just a tiny bit until the chalk catches it. Right there, okay? Sorry for the alarm, but it's just one of those things. So now what we gotta do is I gotta depress the brake and make sure that both air pressure tanks for 2 minutes, that I don't lose any more than 3 to 4 pounds of PSI. So I'm gonna go ahead and press down on the brake and hold it for 2 minutes. Or it could be 3 minutes, I can't remember which, but I'll just do it for 2. And if you want to pull your cell phone timer out and do that, that's fine. I know the beeping is annoying, I do apologize. I know, the beeping is annoying. Alrighty, so now, once we've seen that we haven't lost any 3 to 4 pounds of pressure, now what we're going to do is we're going to pump the brakes down to 50 PSI, 50 to 60 PSI, because the low air warning light should come on, and there should be a million buzzers for that. Okay, there's the low air warning light there. And now I'm going to continue to pump down until the parking brake, that's right here above this little yellow thing, it's a little black knob. I'm going to pump it down till this parking brake pops out all by itself. Okay, there it goes. It popped out. So the reason why we do that is to make sure that that parking brake is working and everything else. So now I'm going to start the bus again. Low air warning light's going to stay on, which is fine. That's okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to watch the PSI pressure build up. Again, it should take less than, I think, 60 seconds for the low air warning light to go off. And it usually goes off between 50 and 60 PSI, which is about where my fingers are. It's fine. Oh, we got 9% battery. It should have went off by now. I'm going to turn the high idle on. I guess the Bluebirds in 2001. Oh, 70 PSI. Wow, okay. That's interesting. But that's still okay. And then it shouldn't take no more than 2 to 3 a minute, or it should be, I think it's a minute for the air pressure to build back up to 120, which we gotta wait till we hear the noise again. So we're gonna sit here and wait for that. Yeah, go ahead and back out, it's fine. Back up a little bit, because in the screen that I see, it looks like you're like right here in my face. So all the way over, don't worry about coming in, all the way over to the far left here are the headlights and the parking lights. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the headlights on, and just like a normal car with the steering wheel, right here on the left-hand side is our turn signal for left and right. Later I'm gonna have Miss Marie run in the back and make sure that the turn signal is working. But technically, oh, there goes the ear. Technically, when the four-ways are on, that means the turn signals are working. But she is going to be back there to make sure the brakes are working. Huh?
That's the horn.
Here's the horn. We also got an air horn up here too. There's 2 air horns on top. I didn't want to test the horn, but Miss Marie is getting impatient, so.
No.
Yes. So now
It's part of the testing.
Now we're gonna go out and do a complete inspection on the outside. We're gonna make sure.
No.
We're gonna make sure that the headlights and everything else on. Actually, first I'm gonna change the battery because the GoPro is about to die, and then we'll get back to that. Alrighty, here we are on the outside of the bus now. We want to make sure that all of our lights are working. Clearance lights, turn signals, go ahead and come on around. So here's our turn signals, which are the four-way. Here's our regular lights. The center lights are high beams. So I opened up the passenger window so I could turn it on. And they should have came on, which they did. That's good. Got a clearance light here, which is on, which is good. Those lights on top aren't on. I'll be right there. Alrighty, come to find out there's an extra switch that I didn't know about. I was looking at it, but I didn't see it said clearance, so that's my bad. And I don't know why they did that, because the clearance light should be connected to the headlight switch, but it's not. But we flipped the switch and now the clearance lights work. So we're gonna go around, driver's side here. We're gonna check every single lug nut, make sure that they're not loose. And yes, for those of you that are wondering if us commercial driving people actually do this, yes we do. It's actually part of the pre-trip. And if we actually don't do this and something falls off the bus, we get double fine. Also, I didn't point out that our bus has underbelly storage, and it goes all the way across and underneath. There we are, the back tire. Now, these ones here are technically two different lug nuts. You got the outside lug nut and an inner lug nut. This inner one holds on because there's dual wheels back here. The inner one holds on the back one, and these ones hold on the outside one. So you also kind of want to make sure you give those little twists too, just to make sure. I didn't realize that this bus had very old lug nuts. Want to step back, make sure the clearance lights on the side and the tops are working, which I can see. There's our turn signals, our brakes, and we want to make sure our light's working, which I do see some light on my hand, so we're good there. And then later, in just a few, Miss Marie will be standing back here when I press on the brakes, and I put it in reverse to make sure those lights are working. Actually, hold on, let me go shut the button. Okay. I'm out of breath, I'm fat, that's why. So, you want to make sure that your battery cutoff switch is on. And usually it's inside the battery box, which is in here, but on this one, the battery cutoff switch is actually right here, just on the other side of the power steering storage thing. So, and every time you open anything, you want to double check and make sure it's all locked. And then you want to pull out, you want to open up the battery box. Here's our batteries. I believe there's, I see 1, 2, looks like 6 batteries total. Wow. So usually you don't have to pull the pin out and pull, this is on a tray, so I can pull the whole thing out so we can change out the batteries if needed. But we are parked real close to another bus, so I don't want the doors to hit anything. But mostly what you want to do is you want to make sure that none of the batteries are leaking. There's no acid on the top. There's no acid coming out of the side, stuff like that, so on and so forth. And that's just, you know, just for general GP purposes. And then, now if we were a school bus, we would check to make sure that when we open, oh, hear the alarm? That's why. That's what happens when you open an emergency door. Anyway, back to the tires. I've already inspected the tires. We got very good tread on. The sidewalls are ate up a little bit, but you can still see the lettering, and these sidewalls are like that thick. So this little bit of side rub, no big deal. But go back to checking the lug nuts. I'm going to check the big ones first for the outside. And then I'm going to go in and check the little ones. And it is this tattletale in the trucking industry, that's what we called it. But it's a hub odometer meter. This is a federally, this is a federal thing. You cannot take this off of here. And I mean, once you convert it, I think RVs don't have to have it, so you might be able to take it off. But you're going to want to check with DOT and stuff like that, and so on and so forth, to make sure that it's okay. But as the bus is a commercial bus, that has to stay on federally. You want to make sure that your diesel cap is on tight, which it was. We could have put it on a little bit more tighter. But that's where the diesel goes in at. These boxes are just empty boxes. They carry chains and like emergency equipment, stuff like that, so on and so forth. You don't have to check them. Just show. Whoop. Might have to adjust that lock. Back here to the front tire and check every single lug nut. There we go. That's your pre-trip inspection. I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting something, but for the most part, you want to check your lug nuts. You want to check your brakes. Oh, now that Miss Marie's moving around and giving me... Stop. I get it. Stop it.
Okay.
You're supposed to be looking underneath to be looking at the drums, because this thing has four-wheel drums. You're also supposed to be looking at brake lines to make sure if you can see them. Some buses you can't see them, some you can. When it comes to the back dualies, because there's so much stuff happening in the back and this understorage stuff like that, when I look, if I'm on the passenger side and I'm checking brakes and brake lines and airbags and stuff like that, and the air brake canister, which is what supplies air to the brakes, and that's another thing you have to inspect also. I usually look from the passenger side. I look over at the driver's side because you're going to be able to see it a lot better, the driver's side. And then when I'm on the driver's side, I'll look back over to the passenger side and do that. I'll do that before we leave. I'm not going to do that right now.
And you're supposed to look underneath in the front for any oil leaks.
That's if the engine is in the front, and our engine's in the back, my love.
Okay.
So we're supposed to check for oil leaks too, which I didn't do that back there. But it's in the back because the engine's in the back. She was just sitting here saying what you probably heard her, the engine oil leak under the front. If we have an engine oil leak under the front, we got very serious problems, my love, okay?
Okay.
Anyway, but you're supposed to check your air brake canisters, your brakes, and stuff like that. You should be able to see how thick your brake pads are, because they don't have dust shields on them. They shouldn't. If they do, then you're going to have to crawl underneath there and actually physically look at it and stuff like that. But that's the general thing of a full-blown pre-check. That's the number one thing. That's pretty much what it is that we need to do to make sure that our pre-trip is completely done and our air brake inspection is completely done. So we're pretty much done now. It's time to get on the road. I'm getting hangry. Angry, hungry, so's Miss Marie. And we got Miss Marie's mother, my mother-in-law, her mother, with us, so I'm pretty sure she's probably getting the munchies too. So we're gonna get out of here.
That was who you seen that got out of the bus.
Yeah, if she got it on video. I've been filming her anyway, so she'll be in some of the shots anyway. But anyway, we're gonna get out of here and hit the road. Hey, am I in the picture?
You're in the whole picture.
All right. Alrighty, folks, here we are. We're getting ready to take off. The only thing is the doors won't close. If Miss Marie will turn around and flip the switch, and she'll show you. That's an air release door switch. As soon as she flips it, should close the door. Car apart just like that, and then there's a black knob over here that if I pull on it, it opens the doors back up, and then if I push on it, it closes the doors. So, gotta turn our clearance lights on, turn that on, turn our headlights back on, and we are good to go. We're at 120 PSI and everything else. Here we go. Brakes in, drive, and it says 5, it should be 1, but whatever. Oops, actually, hold on. Neutral, brake. I forgot to adjust, oops, that's the bottom mirror, which is fine. Top mirror. Okay, we're good there, whoops. Okay, top mirror, up a little higher, bottom mirror. And there we go. Alrighty, now, let's get out of here.
Finally.
Drive.
This is S.
Here we go.
Off we go.
5, okay.
Wow, I do not like these mirrors. Yeah, we have insurance on it through Allstate. If you're ever going to purchase a bus and
Out
convert
the
it
gate
into
we
an
go.
RV.
Right there. Sorry, honey.
Yeah, that's okay. I was just talking. You can rudely
Sorry.
interrupt me all you want. That's fine. Anyway, you want to make sure that you have insurance. And pretty much, especially in the Pacific Northwest, from what I can tell and the research that I've done, it's all pretty much Allstate.
Now you'll have enough gas to get home, right?
Oh yeah.
Funny.
There's an airplane.
And we're off on the road now.
First thing we need to do is find some place to eat. Just film for right now. We're not really doing anything.
Okay. Say hi, Mama.
Hi, how are you?
I do not like
Hey!
Alrighty, folks. We got the bus home. We park it across the street in an empty lot of empty building. And step outside where there's a little bit of light. But there we are. There's the bus. And we're right next to a major street too, so there's going to be a lot of car traffic most of the time. Oh. Yay, white balance kicked in. So, because the sun's starting to go down. I know you guys can't tell, but anyway. So, what we're going to do now is The front door of the bus does not have a lock. And so I got to jerry rig something up to make sure it stays closed. Ooh, it's gotten ugly. Oh, okay, just the front screen. So there's a gap of that red bar. So there's a bunch of washers right there. So what I'm going to do is move the washers out to move this red bar closer to this white bar. Can't see it. There it is. That white bar right there. And then I'm going to drill a hole through it and then stick something in there so somebody can't open the door from the outside. There's another side door right here, which I'm going to do the exact same thing on. And then the back window has the exact same thing to open, but there's this giant hole right where I've got that kind of carabiner looking thing stuck through it. And then that way nobody can open the window from the outside and try to crawl in here at nighttime, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna end up shutting the camera off. Man, is that... I don't know if you guys can see me or not. It looks a little dark. But I'm going to shut the camera off and reset using a different mount. And then I'm going to work on getting these doors secured, hopefully tonight. So in that way, nobody breaks into the bus. So we'll be right back. So, I ran out of light last night, and I didn't have any flashlight, so I couldn't finish videoing what I was doing last night. So, basically what I did, I'm gonna sit down here real quick, is I swapped this red handle around, drilled a hole in here, so I could put a bolt there, so that way, because there's no locking mechanism or anything like that. Not on this emergency door, not on that one back off over there, and the back window back there. But I just put a nut and bolt on this one. What I'm going to do though, is I gotta go back to Home Depot or Lowe's and get a carabiner lock like this one. So that way, all we gotta do, if I could do this one-handed, I might have to get a bigger carabiner lock. There we go. And so, not that I'm not expecting to have any problems. Now this one here, there's a special lock that I can buy that'll actually fit through both of these holes. Oh well. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Let's see if I can get this. There we go. It'll actually fit through both those holes, and then it'll lock on the other side. And I know what kind of lock I need. I just need to get that lock. So, but we're headed to DOT this morning. We were gonna do it yesterday, but things got a little late. So we're gonna head to DOT and then bring the bus back, and then we'll head to DOT or DMB in the car, because there isn't gonna be a whole lot of places to park the bus. So anyway, and we're gonna bring you along for the ride. Well, folks, we are at the DOT station in Oregon. Usually when it comes to commercial vehicles, you got to have it inspected before you can register it in Oregon. And I came here and they have no idea what I'm talking about. So they gave me a phone number. I'm on the phone on ignore right now. So I'm going to sit here for probably about 10 more minutes, or maybe 5 at the most. See if I can get someone on the phone. If not, then I guess we'll just head back to the apartment and grab the car and go to DMV and see what we can do there. So we'll keep you posted. Alrighty, well, I just got off the phone. Come to find out that as soon as I crossed the state line, I was illegal. And I'm not supposed to be driving in Oregon without an Oregon state trip permit, which is kind of confusing, but okay. And yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. I know that there's commercial vehicles that come into Oregon with out-of-state trip permit or trip permits that are out of state, and DOT and the cops never do anything about it. So either that's a new law that just passed or something, I don't know which. But the people on the phone that I was talking to, when I told them that I drove out to the DOT station in Oregon out on I-5, which is about 10 or 15, 20 miles outside of Portland, they sat there and said, you're not supposed to be doing that. Hurry up and get home. So we're going to get the hell out of here. So we'll get back to you guys. I'm not going to bother recording because I don't want to get in more trouble if I get pulled over. So we'll, I'll do something when we get back to the apartment. So we'll see you guys in a few. Well, alrighty folks, we got the bus back to where we've been parking it at, which is across the street from our apartments. So, yeah, that was interesting. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why. Next time on John and Marie. I don't understand why the bus would be gone. Sure enough, it's gone. Son of a gun. It's been here all week, just fine. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's been parked. The bus has been parked right here all week long, right behind me and Marie here. So now we got to figure out what happened. Great. We'll get back to you as soon as we can.